All right, we're live, TJ.
Hey, I never noticed. I didn't know it had a little thing that pop up that said you're live. I always saw it on the top
I
corner.
know.
Yeah, weird. Hey, we're learning new things all the time. How you been, my friend?
Been good. Got tickets to the Eagles open practice tomorrow. Won them in a
Hey,
raffle, so very excited about that. But
good
other than
stuff.
that, same old, TJ.
I remember. Did you ever see the "It's Always Sunny" episode when they try out for the
The answer
Eagles?
is yes.
You see them all? Yeah.
When they try for the what happened in that one? Because I
Yeah.
vaguely remember. Yeah, they did like the invincible thing.
Yes, exactly. And you met another McPoyle. He was a really big one. He tried out for the Eagles, and Charlie was Green Man.
Yeah.
That was a good episode. Dee turns out she's an amazing punter.
Uh-huh.
That was a good episode. I love that show. I can't believe it's been on like 16 years or something. It's incredible.
It's not like the newer seasons. They're not what it once was. Like they're just those guys are having fun, and as long as they're still getting paid to do it, they get paid to do it. But it's not what it used to be. But I do those classic seasons, like 1 through 10, basically are just absolute gold. Like
yeah,
nothing like them ever before or since.
It's so good, and it's just like really simple, basic concepts that they do. I remember I saw the pilot episode they did, like what got them the show before Dee was on the show. And actually, the pilot was just Charlie and Dennis, and they actually put the pilot in an episode later on. They redid it, but it involves Dennis going to Charlie's apartment and trying to. I can't remember which one. In the pilot, he's asking for some coffee. And I think in the show, he's asking for a basketball, but Charlie has cancer. And he's trying to, break the news that he has cancer. And Dennis is like, yeah, I really could use that coffee, though. And he keeps like pushing it off and everything. It's really funny. It's like I love a really high concept idea and then just running with it. And they did a great job.
That's what they always the joke that like lives forever in my friend group is the implications. When
that's a fantastic one.
It's Mac and Dennis, and they're like going to get a boat, and Dennis like, we need a mattress. Mac's like, why do we need a mattress? In case we get some girls tipsy topside, and we bring them down below deck,
right,
and they have to have sex with us because of the implications.
What's the implication? It's so great.
It's so funny.
Great.
And I've done that. I've done a skit with that with like various political topics of like, we and they'll have to keep working for us, because of the implications.
Exactly. It's so great. I had a boss, and she and I would always use that. Like when we just throw it in a conversation, like, because of the implication. It's fantastic. And then, Mark Louderbeck just asked, he said, do you know you are alive? Yeah, we do, Mark. This is a Wednesday episode, man. We're just shooting the shit.
We've said it before that we're political content creators, but at heart, we're just nerds who want to talk about TV and movies and shit.
Yeah, we're media guys, man. And we're media. We love it. It's so much fun. So I did catch part of the episode you guys did yesterday, last week while I was out of town. I was in French Lick, Indiana, for a conference we had for work. And you and Ryan did a bang-up job. I caught the episodes and everything. I wasn't disappointed. Thought it was fantastic. He did great.
Yeah, Ryan was great. It was great to have him on. Good to talk to him again. It's always interesting when it's just you and a guest.
Yeah,
it's like it's very much when it's us two and a guest. There's always a cadence. We know how to ping pong between each other and the guest. And then when it's with the guests, it's just a totally different cadence.
It is.
And you have to kind of get used to it while producing the show and participating in it at the same time. So
it's a lot harder.
Yeah,
it's a lot harder. Yeah, we both found that out. That and in fact, it was Natalie's episode when she was on the show, and then halfway she had to leave, and then the last half of the show felt really weird. And it was just the two of us. So the flow gets weird, and we're used to the two of us. So the flow for a full episode is hard to do, without three people, but we do what we can, right?
Well, we figure it out as we go along, TJ. I'm sure, we're like over a year doing this now. I noticed that because I was saving files and I was like, wait a second, I already have the left wing 7 point whatever saved, and it was like, oh wow, we've been doing this for over a year. You haven't, I don't think. I don't know when your first show was.
So it's funny you mentioned that because I was on the YouTube studio looking through and everything. I thought you guys have been doing the show a lot longer. I joined in like 3-4 months into this or something. Maybe I mean, it wasn't 6 months. It was sub 6 months, which shocked me. I thought you guys had been doing it for a really long time. But I said, oh my God, they started early last year, basically. And I think I joined like in the fall or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was kind of surprised to see that. But yeah, we've been plugging at this for about a year now. And it feels like home. Like it feels really comfortable, nice little rhythm we got. And now we both got access to the StreamYard. And hey, are you using AI for the descriptions on the YouTube?
I used to.
Oh, you're doing it real now?
Now I'm doing it real. Because honestly, like it was just like, so you get like look at Scott's Hamburgers.
Scott's Burgers.
Stop the presses, Lennon. Let's put that up. Look at this, Scott. This episode is sponsored by Scott's Hamburgers, located in beautiful Bixby, Oklahoma. Grab a double for just $9 and stroll down scenic Dawes Avenue while you listen to The Left Wing today. Hamburgers. Look at that. Our first sponsorship. We didn't really agree to this as a sponsorship, but we'll take it. Scott's Hamburgers, official burger joint of The Left Wing in Oklahoma, where neither of us live.
Yeah, we've done it, folks. We sold out to Big Beef. We did it. We're hacks. I appreciate the courage of you just reading that cold and not reading it first, because who knows what it could have said, right? You could have done a Ron Burgundy moment
I
right
read
there.
through it before I saw
Okay, all right. It's like, Jesus, wow, John, that's pretty ballsy. Well, Scott, we appreciate it. Those of you, assuming Scott has the finest burgers, as he mentions, we recommend you go on down and try his out. If you know what, if they're as good as advertised, we may have a Left Wing field trip lined up sometime. Go check out Scott's Hamburgers and see what he's got going there.
If anyone gets to anyone listening in Oklahoma right now can get to Scott's Hamburgers and you take a video of yourself with the hamburger, we will share it on this show. So go if you are in any sort of distance of Bixby, Oklahoma. Get over to Scott's Hamburgers. That's the largest whatever. Our donation, whatever they call
super chat
we've ever gotten. So Scott, hold the record.
We appreciate it, Scott.
Send us your logo. We'll put it on the
We're the Left Wing brought to you by Scott's Hamburgers is what we have here. I'm trying to think if I know anyone in Oklahoma. I was in the Army at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, but I don't know if I know anyone. Oh, in fact, I do. I'll have to get a hold of them and see if they're anywhere near Scott's Hamburgers, and I'll give it a try.
I've been thinking, TJ, that like it would be. I've been considering what it would be like if we just did an entire pod, like all in one, for the Spotify, which it would be just a little awkward if we just kind of cut out the in between segments. But if we had ad breaks in between them, it would work.
It would. You're right. Yeah.
But I was like, we'd have to get sponsors for that. But if we can just do like Scott, you can be one of our sponsors. We can do pretty niche stuff.
Yeah.
For nothing. Just for the use of an ad break. Might be something to talk about, DJ.
I like it. Man, we John and I are not expensive. We'll put it that way. We will. Our integrity is non-existent, man. We'll sell it. I have thought about this for a while, that making content and everything, that I don't know. Do you do any TikTok shop videos on TikTok? Do you do? No. Me neither. Never. I you know what? And it's like I'm so glad you said that, because I know a lot of people who do, and I was like, man, there's no way. There's just no way. And the money can't be that good. It can't be good enough for me to be like, this is the best remote control I've ever seen. You guys should. No, not happening, man. Not happening.
It's like also like, no, who gives a shit about my opinion of a fucking any product? Like if I did anything even tangentially related to a product I could sell, I would do it in a heartbeat, PJ. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, we don't. Like what possible product could be related to our niche?
And ones that they would trust your opinion on. I guess like microphones or something. Hey, like this is a great microphone, or this is headphones, or it'd have to be something visual media. John could hold on. John could sell his hair product. We all know this. All right, that's.
I just got a fresh cut. I appreciate the
you know what? That's actually a good point, because stuff that people do ask us on, and when it comes to like hair, I do get a lot of questions about skincare and hair care products. So we do get that. So that could be something, but I don't know. Still, it would feel kind of strange, like hawking merchandise to the folks, because I don't know.
if anyone ever came to me and said, "Here's money, do this," I'll do it.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna try and do it though. You know what I mean? Like it's just not worth the effort.
That hasn't happened to you on TikTok. You haven't gotten you ever gotten a message saying, "Hey," because I've gotten those. I'd be shocked if you haven't.
Oh no, I've got a message be like, "Hey, like sell this, like make a video with this drone," and I'm like,
yeah,
what the fuck am I gonna make a drone? Like, what would I even do?
I know, right?
So if I have to like think of it and do it, whatever, it's fine. But if someone gives me an ad read, I don't care what it is, as long as they're not like killing babies. Like, yeah, I'll sell whatever product you want.
You heard it here first, folks. John Cooper will do any crypto read you want him to do. You got a shady cryptocurrency you want to sell, John's your man. He'll get it thrown out there. Speaking of crypto and like absurd shit, I wanted to talk a little bit about our good friends at the Republican Party. I don't know if you saw the caption I had for the show about how weird Republicans are. I've been wanting to talk about this because for the longest time, people like you and me have been pleading for not necessarily progressives and leftists, because we do this all the time, but your mainline Democrats to just finally come to the realization that the American conservative movement is not a legitimate political ideology with, thoughts and considerations that need to be taken seriously. It is just, repackaged Ku Klux Klan talking points, wild bigotry, and insane religious fundamentalism. And it should be treated with scorn, derision, and most importantly, ridicule. There hasn't been nearly enough of this going on. And I, for one, am ecstatic that they finally embrace this, because it's been a long time coming.
It is. I'm telling you, TJ, when Kamala took over, I thought, like, I was like, hey, this is going to be better than Biden. I was expecting the same messaging, just with the ability to speak in complete sentences. That's what I was expecting.
Same.
They have just taken the playbook that we've been advocating for the past 8 goddamn years, and it's working. And it's working, and you emphasize the ridicule. And I think I've seen like posts like, how come people are caring about Republicans being weird? How is that the best message? How is that better than saying they're going to destroy democracy? And I'll tell you what the answer to that question is, TJ. If anyone grew up in Reddit forums and, God forbid, on 4chan or message boards, you know what these people are. They are edgelords who, when you say that they're dangerous or that they're assholes or they're mean, that gives them power. It's their oxygen. They are a fire and they consume that shit. But once you call them weird, once you just like, look at these losers, like then they don't get power from that. No one's scared of someone who's weird, they're not even creepy. They're weird. It's very important messaging, and they're just nailing it. And the way you know it's working is by their god awful reaction to it. It has been, they have no defense to this at all. Their defense to this is to basically be weirder. It's like, oh, you think we're weird? What about this dude in a dress? It's like, no, that's what makes you weird, bro. Then maybe you're not getting it.
Exactly. This is why it's so great, because you like you said. You say, look, guys, these folks are bizarre. They're strange. They're just really fucking weird. And then they respond with, well, if I'm so weird, can you tell me like what your pronouns are based on what I imagine is in your pants? You're like, whoa, wait, what? Hold on. What?
Why are you imagining what's in my pants? It's kind of weird, bro.
Yeah. And furthermore, let's talk about what's in children's pants. You're like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you? And you just expose this, and look, you're going to win. You're going to win, because I don't know if you ever watched the Disney Plus show X-Men 97. It came out earlier.
I did, and then I stopped, and now I need to start watching it all over again. It was the episode where Genosha gets
that's a great one.
Killed, and then I stopped after that because I don't know, I got busy. I picked up other things, and then I tried to jump back into the next episode, and I was like, wait a second, I need to rewind all the way back to the beginning. It was excellent. I absolutely loved it.
They did amazing.
It was so much better than even my highest expectations that I could have been. I had high expectations.
So that's funny, because I did, after people started talking about it, like when the critics started mentioning it, because when I heard they were doing an X-Men continuation, I just rolled my eyes again. I said, man, there's another sequel / remake / reboot. And can we just let the past die? Can we just appreciate it for what it was? And I was really annoyed. And then, because, sequels that are like 30 years apart, rough track record on those. Like every now and then you'll get a Top Gun 2 where it's, just as good or better than the original, but that's kind of rare. Usually, it's a lot shittier, but my God, did they knock it out of the park with X-Men 97. I mean, I almost no complaints at all. But the reason I brought it up was that the first episode, I think, maybe second episode, there's an amazing scene when Storm gets shot and she loses her abilities. And Magneto, who has taken over for Professor X, who's presumed dead, and Magneto saw he's trying to be a good boy. He's trying to live out Charles Xavier's dream, and look what it got him. And he said, "Is this the high road's destination?" And I love that line. That is an amazing line right there. And that's how I felt for the past, I mean, I want to say 8 years, but it's probably been 10 or 12 years, honestly, that we have burned so many fucking calories trying to explain our philosophy, trying to break down the math of like how these taxes work, trying to tell them that, well, listen, blue states aren't actually executing live born babies at 10 months and shit like that. Like, we've been telling them like the facts and the reasoning and the logic and the truth, and it gets you nowhere. It gets you fucking nowhere. But you know what does work? Making fun of them. And it's a lot more fun. You can do both. That's the best part. You can do both. I think that as social media creators, we kind of craft a way, the good ones at least, craft a way to do both, to give the information and also, throw out some well-deserved mockery. It's perfect. It works every single time. And I wanted to share this with you right here, because what you mentioned is that it's so great because of how they're reacting to it and how poorly they're taking this shit. Let me make sure I got the right one. Here we go. And this is from our good friend, Vivek Ramaswamy. And I don't know if you saw this, but he wrote...
I did. I posted this on Threads. It was a hit.
Their weird argument from Democrats is dumb and juvenile. This is a presidential election, not a high school prom queen contest. It's also a tad ironic coming from the party that preaches diversity and inclusion. Win on policy if you can, but cut the crap, please. So I didn't see your post on that. What were your thoughts on this, John?
So what exactly? I have to think about exactly what I said, because I posted multiple times about the weird thing. Because it's such good messaging. They need to continue to do it. They're absolutely killing it. The thing that I said specifically about Vivek's posts is I've been saying that Democrats should stop treating MAGA Republicans as normal for a long time now, but even I'm surprised at how brutally and immediately effective the Stop Being Weird campaign has been. And like it is so stark, because when Vivek says that, this is why it's so effective. When Vivek says that, everyone who isn't in the MAGA cult and just immediately defensive will go, hold up a second. Didn't you suggest cutting everyone in the federal government with odd number social securities? Isn't that kind of juvenile and stupid too? Because they have no ground to stand on. They are the ones who brought this environment. They can't suddenly retreat to, oh, we need to be cordial and respectful. You don't do that when you're led by Mr. Grab 'em by the pussy. You brought this upon yourself, and you can't retreat. And when they immediately retreat, it's such a sign of weakness. It's such loser mentality. And you don't have to pull out a fucking chart to explain why it's a loser mentality. It's immediately obvious to every grown adult and teenager, and everyone who watches this response is like, that's loser energy. They're kind of weird. No, you're right. You don't have to explain it. It's obvious. It's apparent. It is no need for explanation. They're proving the point immediately, and they're unprepared for it because they've been dealing with Joe Biden and that style of politics, and that style of politics doesn't work against this 4chan style of politics. It doesn't. We know this because we have been fighting in the social media messages for years and years and years. And that's what this entire right-wing movement is. They're entirely online. They don't understand what makes things work for the average American. And they've basically just been coasting on the other side not understanding it either. And now that the other side is getting it, they have nothing. TJ, this is going to be a bloodbath. I swear, it's going to be. I'm getting ready for a annihilation.
Listen, I want to add on that too, because the more I watch, the more I think this. It's like every single day it's been growing. And the first thing I want to talk about is that you said that the Democrats have not caught on to this. The weird thing is they have, but it's just that the leader of the party was 81 years old. And so Joe Biden, of course, still thinks it's 1984. And so he's, working with that old style framework. And since he's the president, everyone followed his lead. And the reason I say that is because Kamala hasn't been here like a week and a half, and everyone is firing on all cylinders. Everyone else got it. Everyone else knows what's up, but they had to wait for new leadership. And once Kamala got in there, like even like the Twitter feed, I can't tell you how many times I've bitched about Joe Biden's Twitter feed and stuff. It's like, what it was like, let me be clear. Here is my call. I was like, oh, what? No one gives a fuck about this. First off, you didn't write it. Like, say what you want about Trump, but he wrote his own tweets. We know this is just some bland shit. But now, like, Kamala's feed is like roasting JD Vance, as many times as possible, which is absolutely hilarious. And so much I want to say about that. But
we haven't even talked about the couch, TJ.
I know the couch. You know what the couch thing? What's so really great about that is, I would tell people about when we were talking about Joe Biden and everything and how he shit the bed in the debate, and you had your blue MAGA people say, no, he actually won the debate because he was technically correct more than Trump, as if that mattered at all. And it's like, people, you guys got to understand that narratives are what matter in media and in culture and society, and hell, just amongst regular people talking one-on-one. And if the narrative is, which was true, by the way, not just the narrative is that you can't think and you can't communicate, it's too bad. That's what it is. You can't bitch about the narrative. You have to change it. And that's what's been happening. Of course, I'm going with this. JD Vance. And JD Vance, someone just wrote a random ass meme, like making fun of JD Vance. Is like, oh, and they faked an excerpt from Hillbilly Elegy saying that, I put a glove in a couch and had sex with it. Complete bullshit and made it up. Doesn't matter. Now everyone in the country is talking about JD Vance fucking couches, although he doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like that's the world we're living in. And I was going to talk about what you said with Vivek about how they can't really, that he's trying now, well, you guys are not being gentlemen about this, when they've been following Donald fucking Trump, who's known for his petty ass, ridiculous, absurd nicknames. They got no leg to stand on when it's, well, how dare, like I saw a great tweet on that where it said, no, it's fuck your feelings. My feelings are very soft and delicate, like a baby hummingbird and shit. So it is pretty great to see that. Oh, what do we got from?
I need to respond to this.
Oh, let's go.
Because it's a point I've seen made, and I entirely disagree with it. So Mark says, guys, enjoy the honeymoon. At some point, Kamala's going to have to speak about policies and details, not just abortion, but enjoy this time. And to that, I have to say, first of all, I'm not too worried if she does, but no, she fucking does not. Trump doesn't. Name me a policy that Trump talks about. He doesn't talk about any policy ever. She doesn't need to. She needs to be slightly more eloquent on policy than Donald Trump, and then just bash him over the head with being a criminal and trying to take away our right to abortion. That's all she doesn't have to put out a fucking agenda and she'll win. And honestly, I kind of think she shouldn't. Or put out the most generic, bland ass, look at the fucking RNC agenda. It's just random Trump tweets, all in all caps. She has to pass that bar, and that's nothing. Mark's saying border. First of all, why would she have to talk about Afghanistan?
Why the hell would she ever talk about Afghanistan?
The border, she should just stay away from that topic. It's relatively easy to do so. And I think that the messaging I've seen so far has been, hey, she's been pro-immigrant in her messaging so far. I forget exactly what she said, but I've been pretty happy with the policy hints that she's been giving. But no, she doesn't really have to get into the. Do you think, TJ, she has? I think if she goes into the details on policy, it's a losing fucking move.
So yeah, this is what I've been saying for a long time. But as bad as Joe Biden was, like some of these things could work against Biden. Like the Afghanistan thing, I don't know how many people actually care about that. Like, really? I mean, anyone going to cast their vote because of the Afghanistan thing? Please find me that person.
I see. I think that was a narrative thing. I think that proves your point about narrative is that no one actually gives a shit about.
No one gives a shit.
But
no
that's when it started going bad for Biden. And he never recovered. Like that was it. And he could never dig himself out of the hole because he's too old. But like that did have a huge impact, but it doesn't affect this election for Kamala.
Yeah. And so with the other issues that Mark, you mentioned inflation. Like, what is anyone's plan for inflation? I'd love to hear it. Like, what is the Republican plan for inflation? What is the Democrats' one? Neither of them going to have anything to say about that. Nothing of substance, at least. The border stuff, you already know what they're going to say. She already said, I think, that she supported Biden's plan that he put together that the Republicans rejected. But the main thing is that as bad as Biden was, where these things would have worked on Biden, inflation, border, because, he was the president at the time, and he was still like within range. I was supposed to say shooting distance. I can't say that, but he was still within, arm's reach of Trump when the polls, as bad as Biden was. And that's what this is going to get about here. Like, it's really a referendum on Trump. The last, 2 elections are going to be about, hey, do you want Donald Trump to be president? And this is why it's Harris's numbers have shot up just, like meteorically, which is funny to say meteorically rose because meteors fall. But it's that people, how many times over this last year have you heard, I can't believe that these are the 2 people we have to choose from? Now you don't. That's it. Yeah. That's why I agree with John completely here that, yeah, sure, I would love Harris to run from the left. Of course, that's what I would want. But if I were Harris, I would do like a lot of vapid nonsense and let people say, hey, we like this person. She's younger, she's energetic, she's funnier, she's more relatable. And I say all the time that politics is just about vibes. I really, for us, for people like us, and who's watching the show, it's about actual policy. For a sizable, like a majority of the population, it's not. It's not. It's absurd, but hey, who do I like better? And people are going to like Harris a hell of a lot more than they're going to like Donald Trump. Do I wish the policies were bigger, a bigger agenda? Yeah. But I have a hard time imagining her putting forth a policy proposal that's going to get all these folks to immediately turn against her. I just can't. Like, there's very few out there that she could even do, and she probably won't do it anyway, especially if Trump won't debate her.
And if she has them, just keep them close to the vest. When she met with Netanyahu and gave that speech, which I thought was interesting, by the way. I'm surprised I didn't see more Republicans complaining about how that's unfair, because it kind of is unfair. Like she wouldn't be meeting with Netanyahu and giving that speech if she wasn't the candidate. You know what I mean? But I saw a lot of people on the left get mad at her and attack her, and I was like, guys, what the fuck are you doing? Let me put it this way: if I were in Kamala's shoes and I had the intention to do everything I would personally want to do in regards to Israel, I would give the exact fucking speech that she did. You just signal that you are going to be harder on Israel than Biden. Don't say exactly how, and then just keep going. That's all I need. We're going to be harder on Israel. Signal it to me, wink, and you're good. Hank Green, Hank Green. You know who I'm talking about, Hank Green, John Green. So Hank Green had a tweet, and I thought it was great. And he was like, right wingers understand dog whistles. They don't need Donald Trump to go out there and say, I'm going to ban abortions. When Donald Trump says, I'm not going to ban abortions, wink, wink, they understand what that means. And the left has a big problem when by the left more so, our side of the left has a big problem when politicians don't say the exact thing that they want them to say. They're not supposed to. That's not Kamala's job right now. Kamala's job is to win in November.
Yeah.
And I don't care what she says between now and then in order to do that. If she's signaling to me what I think she is, I'm going to be happy with that. Our options 2 weeks ago, TJ, were Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Everyone should be ecstatic. It blows my mind that people are somehow already on the left attacking Kamala Harris for Israeli policy that she didn't fucking implement.
You're not surprised. You're not surprised. But it's like I don't think it's going to be because of those people that exist. And listen, I get it. Honestly, I do. Everyone. I think every one of us are actually single issue voters. I think if you really get down to it, there's like one major issue that we all have that, kind of hinges what we're going on. And if yours is the Israel thing, I get it. That's what I don't think it's practical, but I do understand it, because there would be something eventually, like the Democrats could do something. I was like, okay, well, I'm sorry, I can't back them on that. But the biggest one that, that I've been talking about for a year now is the abortion one. And that's the one that's really gonna, seal the deal. Like, if it hasn't already, I think it has. But what I wanted to pull up was this wild poll I saw. I don't know if you saw this, but this is from University of North Florida, and it's the Florida numbers right now. So as of, it was today or yesterday, but Trump is winning Florida by 7, 49-42. Okay, about what you would expect. Rick Scott is winning Florida by 4. Now there's 2 referendums that are going. Legalizing marijuana, 64-31, that the people are supporting. So that one's going to pass. Now, that one's not quite as shocking, because you can find a significant amount of Republicans, libertarians who are for that. Look at the abortion one. There's the referendum they have to limit government interference with abortion amendments. So right now, I think Florida has a 6-week abortion ban. And I can't remember what this says, but obviously it's not going to be 6 weeks. It's going to back it way off to where it was before. 69-23. And that's fucking Florida, man. That is a solid red state. So this shit's gonna, keep going in several different states. And that's really going to help the Democrats across the board. It's going to help. The Senate races are getting tighter now that Harris is in. That's also the other effect too. It's not just Harris that the polls themselves don't matter quite as much as the trends. And the trends with Harris after a week and a half keep getting higher and higher. That's going to continue. And like Mark said, the honeymoon will end eventually, but it's not going to end soon. It's going to end like a month from now. And
those got the convention bump. That still to have. That convention is going. From everything that we've seen so far, that convention is going to be a big bump for Kamala.
Oh yeah. And she would really have to fuck up the VP choice. John, I meant to bring this up.
Shapiro.
Yeah, so because I saw she's announcing in Pennsylvania. So I got to tell you this, this is a rare exception. Everyone screen record this right now. Where I have to admit I was wrong about something. This does not happen often, folks. But I think 2 weeks ago, John and I were talking, or whenever they picked Vance, it was right before the convention or whatever. And John said that he thought Vance would hurt Trump. And I said, no, I don't think Vance is going to hurt him, because VPs generally, your VP choice will help you, because that's why you pick them, by a little bit, maybe a point, to help you win the state they came from or get the demographic, or most of the time it's neutral. Like a lot of times you look, it didn't really help them at all. On rare occasions, your VP actually hurts you. Sarah Palin's like the most recent one, but holy shit. I didn't think JD Vance would be picked by Donald Trump because he was from a red state and he was kind of boring. I didn't really see the utility until I found out, he wanted him for the Peter Thiel, Elon Musk money and everything. But JD Vance is the least popular first-term vice presidential pick, I think, in history since they started doing the polls. I had Sarah Palin, even when she was picked, which kind of shocked me. She had like plus 25 or something percentage approval rating. And JD Vance, if I remember, was at -6. And it's not getting better. Everything you see about Vance is him being awkward, him being weird, him fucking couches, him like every day, it seems there's a new podcast or a new article with his creepy fascination with people having kids. Yeah, Vance is hurting Trump. Like he is. Like it's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's incredible how much. I mean, it couldn't have played into the weird messaging anymore. JD Vance is a poster boy for a weird fucking MAGA Republican. And I think it's one of those situations where the couch fucking thing was made up. Yeah. But the reason that it took off is because JD Vance seems like a guy who'd fuck a couch. Yeah. It's just innately, again, it needs no explanation. I can't give you a detailed point by point explanation of why I believe JD Vance fucked a couch. But I heard it and I was like, that sounds like something that he would do. Yeah. And that's it. It's over. And as John Oliver pointed out, he has yet to deny that he's fucked it. The AP fact check saying that's no, funny. JD Vance hasn't had sex with a couch, which, by the way, hilarious, but also inaccurate because we have no evidence that he did not fuck a couch. we know he didn't talk about it in Hillbilly Elegy, but he could have fucked a couch. Like, we don't know. And Mark brought up fracking. Banning fracking is how it's going to play in Pennsylvania. Mark, she's not going to be in favor of banning fracking between now and November. And there's no way that Donald Trump will have consistent, disciplined messaging on fracking, because I don't think he even knows what that is. So there's absolutely no way that he'll be able to hold her to any position on that, and it will just be lost in the ether. I would love her to ban fracking. Fracking's awful, and we should stop doing it. But yeah, you're right. It's not going to play well in Pennsylvania, and her picking Shapiro, who is pro fracking, is a signal that she's not going to be talking about banning fracking on the campaign trail.
When is the last time anyone's talked about fracking in this presidential campaign? I don't remember seeing that. I don't. Is that? I mean, maybe I missed it, but I don't remember hearing anybody talking about that recently.
So it's popped up a little bit in the last 48 hours.
Okay, all right.
Because Kamala in 2019, she said she's definitely in favor of banning fracking, but no one fucking remembers that or will care. And really that's only an issue for it's a single issue thing for a certain amount of people, but it doesn't play nationwide in the media.
It's not abortion.
It's not going to be part of the narrative.
What are we doing here? Yeah. It's
fracking, Mark, I'll put it this way. If fracking is Kamala Harris's biggest policy weakness, she's going to win in a landslide.
It's going to be a bloodbath. Yeah, like we said. Yeah.
You're right, but she's gonna win Pennsylvania, guys. I hate to tell you, as someone who lives here, she's gonna fucking win Pennsylvania because Pennsylvania is controlled by the cities, and we have Pennsylvania in between them, but the cities are going to turn out for her. Philadelphia is going to turn out for her. It's going to carry her, and the suburbs are going to fucking love her. She's a goddamn wine mom. I can't even explain to you how much she's going to fucking destroy Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania is probably going to be the tipping point state, and she's going to win. In fact, I would wager the only reason it's not the tipping point state is because she so thoroughly dominates that she also wins North Carolina or some shit. I'm being very positive, and this is very optimistic, and I could eat these words one day. But TJ, I've been saying since last fucking year, generic Democrat beats Trump in a bloodbath.
That's what it comes down to, is that, everyone can point at little things or big things that people might have problems with Harris about, just like with Biden. But the thing is, it's not about Harris. It's about Trump. It's not like Kamala Harris is some sort of generationally good politician. That's not what's going on here. It's never been.
She has been, TJ.
We
are on an Obama 08 trajectory.
No, I mean like Obama would have been Obama no matter what the circumstance was. If Harris was running, if Harris was nominated this time last year, it wouldn't be like this. It would be, and so or any other election. She's a pretty standard politician, pretty normal, and normal to at least likable. She's not detestable or anything like that, and that's all you need. And this is hold on. What did Kyle say? Where'd it go? He made a good point. Unfortunately, presidents are elected on their name, order, and swing states, height, and attractiveness. Yeah, it's little intangible stuff like that. Just if you can just appear as a normal human being, that's going to carry you pretty far in politics. And that's kind of all you need against Donald Trump. That's why it's been so frustrating that people have assigned this godlike power to Donald Trump as a candidate. He's one of the worst presidential candidates we've had in the history of the United States. Absolutely awful. The only reason the race was tight in the first place is because Joe Biden is barely alive. And so Trump is and by the way, this is 2024 Trump. It's not 2015 Trump. This is a worse version of Donald Trump than we had 9 years ago. So this is I don't want anyone to take us the wrong way here, that this is all a result of Kamala Harris' incredible skill, and she has handled it skillfully, because you had to be delicate here, and she has done everything right so far. But it's also just the fact that people are relieved that they don't have to vote for Joe Biden or Donald Trump. And that's why, her honeymoon is going to last for another month or so. It's easily.
Yeah, people still keep on, they're stuck in this idea of what politics has been for the past 8 years. And it just isn't that anymore. Like, and this is the breath of fresh air that was needed. It's, again, clip me. I don't care. I'm going to be right. I've been saying this for over a year now. I've been very consistent on this point that Donald Trump is an incredibly weak candidate.
Yep.
Any normal fucking Democrat should be able to destroy him. And Kamala, I was worried previously that she was going to be a little bit worse than generic Democrat. So far, she's blown me away.
Yeah.
I could not have any more joy having watched what her campaign has done so far and how Democrats have coalesced around it, and everyone is falling in line in lockstep. Like, it has been beyond my wildest imagination of how good it has been, and there's no reason to believe that that's going to change. It's like,
yes,
I compare things to sports a lot, TJ.
Mm-hmm.
I watch a lot of sports, but I do think that if people had the mindset of sports when talking about politics, they understand how shit works more, because it's the same fucking thing. And it's like when your team is up or like halfway through a game, and then the other team figures your game out and they just start destroying you. And yeah, you're still up. It's the third quarter. You're still up. You should be confident, but you know deep down you're going to lose this fucking game because the other team's figured you out. That's where we are right now.
Yeah.
Trump is still up technically, although Kamala did, according to Nate Silver's poll aggregation, did pass him today in the polls. Doesn't mean pass him in chances, because she has by more than 2 points nationally to win the Electoral College, but she did pass him very slightly. And like, it's like, there's no reason that this is just going to reverse course, because for the same reason I said we're fucked with Biden, because again, there was no reason that was going to reverse course unless like Kamala does a massive fuck up.
Yeah.
And the massive fuck up is probably going to come from Trump.
That's
far more likely.
Way more likely. You know? And it goes to, or just the Republicans in general, because like you mentioned, to this day, it's only been like 10 days, but still, I am still shocked. Like, I don't get shocked a lot with from Republicans, how they act, whether that they didn't have anything ready for Kamala. Or today, I thought about this too. The worst thing would be if they actually had something ready, and this is what they had: is we're gonna call her the Hawk Tua DEI candidate, and did you see Donald Trump at the Black Journalists event today?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I only saw clips, but yeah, I think that's a perfect example how the tides have just shifted. Like, this was so bad for me. You have a clip from it?
Yeah, I have two of them. Which one do I have here? Let me see. So Donald Trump attended this event. It was what was it called? The Black It
was a Black Journalist Convention, like something like that.
Yeah, and it was a nightmare.
National Association of Black Journalists. Yeah.
Is this one playing?
I'm not hearing it.
Okay, I must have the wrong one here. Let me see. How about this one? Is that playing? No, it's still not.
No, it was playing before. I just didn't hear it.
It was playing? You didn't? Oh, well, whatever. Can you hear that?
Nope.
Right.
Technical difficulties, folks. But yeah, I mean, I can just say what he's saying here. But like, she asked him a very normal question that you would probably, a normal politician who is attending the National Association of Black Journalists convention, who has done things which clearly Black journalists haven't liked, like, Obama's birtherism shit, and all the DEI attacks on Kamala, like, they're going to ask questions about that. And she asked questions about it, and she was just like, this is such a disrespectful question coming. He could not stop saying this woman. Like, I was like, if I was his like campaign manager, I would have been like, stop saying this woman. It's like saying those people. Like, it doesn't come off well, Don. It doesn't. And it's really, if it was against Biden, he is going to say something really fucking dumb that makes no sense 2 hours from now. So you're fine. But when you look across the street and you see Kamala after you just talked about how this woman was being disrespectful to you, it's going to look even worse. It just compounds all of this mistakes he's going to make. He literally said he's there. He's at, again, I can't stress this enough, the National Association of Black Journalists. And he was like, yeah, I don't even think Kamala's black. Like, it's just like he has no idea what he's about to get hit with. It's incredible, and I cannot wait to enjoy the fireworks.
Oh, it was just each statement he said was worse than the last. The crowd was laughing at him. Trump is very good to get laughs out of crowds. They were laughing at him. Like the stuff he said was so ridiculous. Like he said, first being he said, well, the question you asked me was very rude. I can't believe you called me on stage and do something like that. And then she asked him, do you believe that Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, a DEI candidate? He goes, well, what does DEI mean? I don't even know what it is, which is a weird thing for the Republican nominee to say. And she said, diversity, equity, inclusion. He says, okay, well, if that's what you say. He's like, well, no, that's actually what it means. Yeah. And he's like, well, do you think that that's what she is? He said, listen, a lot of people think that. I don't know one way or the other. And then that's when she got into the black thing. And she said, well, do you believe she was hired just because she was black? And then he said this thing that we joked about a couple episodes ago about this weird ass line of attack that Republicans are using when they say that Kamala Harris is not really black. It's fucking bizarre. And it's weird, yeah. And so Trump said that, well, I've been aware of her for a while now, and as far as I knew, she was always Indian. Now, what did he say that she just became black one day? And it's just like, folks, what? All right, look, for those of you who don't know why they're doing this, this is their explanation, which is a very generous word for what's going on here. Kamala Harris is her parents. Her mom is an Indian American and or an Indian immigrant, and like from India, like in Asia, and her dad is a Jamaican, and many are saying that, well, her dad is Jamaican. That's not African American. So, she's an American. She was born, in the United States, but, she's of Jamaican descent. That's not, black, I guess, which is you guys tell me
how do you think the black people got to Jamaica,
exactly,
guys?
You're right. Yeah. So they want to make, so like the term African American, like, is a tricky term because like Elon Musk is not an African American, although he was actually born in Africa, because the term African American refers specifically to the subset of Americans of African descent who were here as a result of slavery. That's what it generally refers to, but it refers also black people from Africa. Like that's just so her dad would not fit that category of an American African American, but he is black. There's no arguing that. And she certainly is an African American because she's from here. And people are saying, well, she didn't have the exact same experience. Oh, who the fuck cares? Like, they did the same shit with Barack Obama, since his dad was from Kenya and not the descendant of slaves. That, there's he's not actually. And it's like, why would you use this line of attack? Because I want to know what's the end goal here. Like what's it like? Let's say you successfully convince people that Kamala Harris shouldn't count as African American because she's only Jamaican descent. Does that gain you any votes, or does that make people vote less likely to vote for? I don't understand why they're doing this, but once again, just falls more into the weird category.
Yeah, I've said this before, how it's a pendulum with this identity politics thing, and during end of the Obama administration, the 2010s, I'm saying like the left, everything left of center swung way too hard on identity politics, and we were rightfully ridiculed by conservatives for it. But now that pendulum has swung back. The Democrats as a party have abandoned identity politics more or less, especially if you compare it to where we were 4 years ago even. And it's the Republicans who are really weird about identity politics. And it's like, I have not really heard anyone from the Democrat side of things talking about Kamala's race at all. Like, even a little bit. It's only Republicans talking about it. And like, they keep talking about it like we care that she isn't the right kind of
black. Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? You're weird. That's weird
so
thing
strange.
To say. It's
So...
weird. You were right when you said we were weird for saying it. And by we, again, I just mean generally people on the left. And it's weird that you're saying it now. And in fact, it's even weirder that you're saying it because you're not fucking black. like that makes it way weirder. And they don't see it. They don't, because they're in this fucking hyper online bubble, and they do not see outside of it anymore. Yeah.
And Kyle, we'll get to your other comments, Kyle, I swear. But I want to hop on this real quick that Republicans have always been entirely about identity politics. They just use dog whistles. This is something I say all the time, that Republicans, Republicans have no fucking right, like no leg to stand on whatsoever to criticize anybody, left, right, center, up, down, of participating in identity politics. Because first off, all politics are identity politics. That's how it is. Like, yeah, you fall into some sort of identity. But even if we're taking it the way that they're saying, generally racial identity politics, that's all the Republicans got. That's it. Like, the Republican Party since 1965, on average, 90% white. 90%. So you're telling me that this party that is 90% white, even today, when it's more diverse than ever, it's still like 82% white. That this party doesn't appeal to white identity politics. And I always put it this way. If there was a political party in the country that was 85% black, 85% of the voting population was black, what would you think about that party? You would think, okay, obviously this party is, catering to the demands and the interests of black people at the expense of others. And you would be right. Of course you'd be right, because the voting population is one type of person. But the Republicans don't see it that way. No, for them, it's just, no, we just have the right policies. It's just very strange and very coincidental that these policies only seem to appeal to white people and almost nobody else. So get the fuck out of here whenever they talk about identity politics, because that's all they practice in the first place. It's absurd.
If you have, and you can look through all fucking television, if you have a show that has 3 or more black protagonists or like main characters, it's a black show.
It's a black show.
If you have a show that has 3 or more white protagonists and the rest of them are minority groups, it's not a white show.
It's just a show. It's just a show.
And it's you see it over and over again. It's constantly everywhere in America. And you know what? Americans haven't learned that lesson either, TJ.
No.
Like that is how Americans view things still to this day.
You know what? When this first hit me was 1,000 years ago. One of my favorite films is Reservoir Dogs. I assume you've seen it, John. Yes. I love Reservoir Dogs. And I was watching it for probably the 10th time, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. There is not one female speaking line in the whole movie. You knew this? Okay, I just caught it. Like one day I was like, because the only time like a woman even makes a sound is when she gets shot or something. Whenever
because Tarantino couldn't like get women to actually work with him before he was famous.
The thing I can imagine. The thing is, I never noticed it. It was seriously like the 10th time I watched the movie that I noticed that there was not one female speaking line. That would have never happened if it was just women talking. I noticed that halfway through the movie, it's like, where are the dudes? How come every speaking line is going to a woman? I would have noticed it right away. And that's when I picked up on this. And yeah, you're right. It's that we have like, oh, here's a normal movie. It's 70% white, maybe a female love interest here and there, or a mother character, a couple minorities to round it out. That's a movie. But like you said, like, man, a lot of Asians in here. Why are they pandering so hard to the Asians? Like, yeah, this is just, and the Republicans, that is their party. Like, their party is just white Christian conservatives, almost nobody else. And which
they've
also
never nominated anything but a white dude for president.
So I was about to go on this. So when I was thinking about Harris and how they've been fumbling this and not knowing how to do it, I was like, maybe Democrats should just run black people from now on, because it seems like the Republicans don't actually know what to do when it comes to, because I was like, maybe that's it. Maybe like they just get so built up with the racism they can't help themselves but act like fucking Neanderthals and just drop the ball. I don't know. I'm not discounting that. It's only like a half-day old theory, but I mean, 2 out of 2 so far, they don't seem to do it themselves.
And it's really funny, TJ, because as a white person, I'm sure you have similar experience with, like, when I'm in like a big group of black people or just like minority, where I am not of the majority, I'm definitely more sensitive about bringing up racial topics. In fact, I avoid them like the plague, because I know it's only a bad thing for me. If they are brought up to me, I know how to answer eloquently. You know this because you always fuck around with me. But like, I'm not going to bring up the topic. Yeah. And what Donald Trump showed today at the Black Journalist Convention was that he doesn't understand that rule. He doesn't understand it.
He's never had to.
He's never had to, because his entire bubble is fucking white people and Tim Scott and
Tim Scott. Forgot about that guy.
And Black Yes Men. Like that's it. And but most Americans don't live that way anymore. Most Americans now have minorities in their life and understand these things. And it's weird when they hear people talk who have only been around white people all the time. Just like it's like, if you talk to someone who's only lived in a Black community their entire life, they talk differently than we do, TJ. They just do.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing for white people, but for so long, that's just been normal in America that no one's noticed. But now that it's not really, it's kind of normal, but it's not the majority anymore. Now it's starting to seem really fucking weird.
And it's changed our collective language. I was thinking about this when Trump was talking to the Black journalist group today, and the stuff he said is, you're right. Like, he's used to saying it to a particular audience, where he says that he actually said the Black Jobs line. I don't know if you saw that, but
did he?
He did.
He's like, that was a real winner. I'm going to keep using that phrase.
Yeah, because Harris Faulkner, I think she's a Black Fox News reporter. She was on the panel, and she asked him about immigration, I think, and he said that, well, we got these people. He went to his line that they're emptying their prisons and insane asylums and sending them here, like a completely baseless comment. But he said, and they're coming up here and they're taking Black jobs. I said, wow, he said it. And then one of the reporters said, well, wait a minute. Well, what's a Black job? And he said, well, a Black job is, it's any job that anybody could have, and he started rolling on. I was like, well, then why do you say Black job? But the way that they talk about, race issues has changed so much, even in just 8 years. And so this one's kind of older, but something that I've noticed over the decades, that how it's like we make fun of conservatives because they don't say Black people, they say the Blacks. It's kind of their thing. They love saying that. I think I mentioned on the show before, that used to be just what people said. Like, people still say it. Like, you will still see, like, on CNN or MSNBC, like people, like, respectable news, people like, and 40% of Blacks support this, because that's just the way people talk. But over time, language has evolved. Like, no one says Negro or colored anymore. Words just kind of change. And the argument that people use that, Blacks dehumanizes Black people because you don't add people on it, which, fine, but that's not really true, because people say Asians all the time, and no one say, like, people don't have any problem with that, where they say, or you hear, or Latinos, you don't have to add people after that. But anyway, but that's just how it's changed. But I've done this too over the years, is that I don't say Jews. I never say that. Like, because once the real issue is, racist people started using these terms, and when this comes from a racist person, it develops a bite. So, 30 years ago, people would say, well, I guess people still say, I would never say this, that, the Jews want this. I would never say that. It sounds icky just saying it out loud. And Blacks has kind of evolved to that too. Yep. When these words aren't necessarily on their own derogatory, but the people who use them make them that way. And Trump hasn't figured that out yet. Trump is like, oh, this is just what we say. It's like, no, man, that's what you weirdo freaks say, and it creeps everybody out. It's kind of weird to behold.
And yeah, it's just like, he wouldn't have said that question was disrespectful and nasty coming from this man, if it was, I don't know, some just white normal journalist,
Jake Tapper or something.
Jake Tapper. We know that. Yeah. Every fucking and I know this as someone who is not from any fucking minority group. Like, that when people react like that to a question from a minority or from a woman, that's what they mean by it. It's that it's disrespectful coming from them, because racist, misogynistic assholes have been saying shit like that for generations, and they don't recognize it. And that's why, to wrap it all into a big bow, that's why the weird attack is so effective, because that's what it is. It's weird. Call it out for what it is. It's weird, and they have no defense from it because they have no self-awareness of how fucking weird it is.
Very true. Very true. And since we got to close out here, let's go to this in the comments we missed here. I saw one from Kyle. Oh, that's right. Kyle said, is that showing up? Here you go. I think the left has a big problem of demanding language. Back when defund the police was catching steam, it made it difficult to actually reallocate funds away from policing. I think we're in agreement on the defund the police thing, aren't we, John? Okay,
yeah,
I thought so.
Defund the police, stupid slogan, good intention.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was terrible. I remember having an argument with someone here at like our local DSA chapter, I think last year or something like that, because I said the same thing, that defund the police is not. And look, was it overblown? Because it's not like anyone in Congress ran on that. Like not even the squad ran on defund the police. But you know how we are. You know, people love throwing the slogan out. And I said that politically, there's two problems with defund the police. The first one is that politically, you never want your cause to be, I'm taking something away from you. You never want that. Like you always want to be what people are gaining, not what you're taking away. And the second part is that, yes, everybody has a problem with the cops. Everyone thinks it's a problem, whatever. But whenever you ask people what they want to make their society safer, because that's what a person was arguing against me. He's like, oh yeah, we tell them, like we ask them what things they need. I said, did any of them say they wanted fewer cops? The answer is no. Like nobody says that. No community. And although we know more cops doesn't equal less crime, if you ask people in crime-ridden areas what they want, they will never tell you take away cops. They never say it. So you've got to, you know, there's no snappy way to say reallocate police funds, you know, to take them away from, you know, noise complaints and shit like that. But, you know, I agree. The defund the police line is not really doing any good. And we missed here. Oh, this is a funny line here. Kamala Harris is apparently black enough for conservatives to be racist against her. That's good. That's a banger.
That's how you know you're black. That should settle the question, Don.
Right?
You wouldn't be calling her a DEI president if she wasn't black.
Richard Nixon's assistant said that they stopped using racial slurs, but school choice and law and order are all the same thing. Is that Lee Atwater? I think he's talking about Lee Atwater with that. So, yeah, where he says that, you know, you stopped saying N-word, N-word, N-word and started talking about, you know, welfare or talking about busing or, you know, war on drugs and stuff, but to, you know, code things that thugs. What's a good one where they're always, inner city problems. It means black people like that. That's what they're trying to say and everything. Torrential Rage says hello. How's it going?
Hello,
and Kyle says, I feel like someone should trademark the blacks, the Jews, kind of like the Kardashians. I don't recommend anyone doing that, but I'm not gonna go up.
It's funny, TJ. As like I'm ethnically Jewish. My grandfather's Jewish. Like I grew up around Jewish people. They all called themselves Jews. So like that's what. And then I was like in school one time, and I said like the Jews, and like someone was like, "You can't say that." And I was like,
"Yeah, oh yeah."
And I was like, what? Like, you can't say the Jews. I'm like, but we're the Jews. what do you mean? It's like, that's insensitive. It's like, well, tell that to the Jews. They're my family. But now I feel uncomfortable. Like I'll say it still, but like it does like in certain contexts. I'm like, I'm not going to say that.
Sounds weird. It sounds weird. Yeah. And that's because the people who say it, you know, and really enjoy and put like the sting on it, like, okay, all right.
Those anti-Semitic people. Now I have to spell out Jewish people. It's real time suck.
People, I remember when I was younger, people were really upset at the term African American. When I was a kid, people get really mad about that. I remember they would say, why would I say 7 syllables whenever I could say 1? And that's just, I think it was like African American. Yes, yeah. I still remember them saying that. And my answer, I used the Asian example again. I was like, okay, I just want to say black. Why can't I say African American? It's like, do you call Asians yellows? That's what I would ask them all the time. Yeah, back then it wasn't like, that's another thing. Like people would say, you know, yellow. No one says that anymore because it's, you know, but it's also falling out of fashion. But back then people still said it all the time. And of course, the answer always was like, no, you just don't like black people. You just want to find. This is something with the Republicans, too, that I always point out how the Republicans do everything in their power to disparage black people at every opportunity. They've moved from CRT to woke to DEI, and all three of them and all their predecessors were just ways to disparage the accomplishments and the humanity of black people. This is like it's shocking how much of the conservative movement is just based upon that, and they don't. I do like the fact that they're more open about it now. I appreciate it because it makes it easier to expose them to the wide population because the nation has grown. Like you were talking about Kamala Harris and suburban women. I saw it's like 59% of women said they will not vote for Trump. Like a wildly high number. I said, oh my God, and it's because of stuff like that, because women are more compassionate. And like, yeah, that's kind of fucked up how you're just brutalizing trans people and minorities and women at every available opportunity. And it's not gonna end well for them. It's not.
And that was the last comment. We also have Heather claps for us.
Oh, I didn't see it.
We always appreciate Heather's claps.
We do.
I always look forward to them, Heather. But yeah, that's a wrap on our show, TJ. We're up past an hour. It's been a pleasure.
Do we have a guest for tomorrow? I didn't.
I was wondering that because I'm not around tomorrow.
Oh shit, that's right. Okay, I gotta find a guest. All right, cool. Yeah.
BK messaged me.
Oh,
asking
perfect.
if he had any, he wanted to be on the show.
Oh, great! I'm gonna hold you.
So I can message him back, be like, "Yo, you want to be on tomorrow?"
Oh, you gonna be great.
But yeah, definitely, I'll put some feelers out because it is my anniversary, and I will not be around.
Fantastic. I forgot you told me that too. I completely forgot about that. You told me a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
If we want to have like a some sort of extra one of these in replacement of a show tomorrow because we don't have a guest, let me know. I'm sure we can.
Are you gonna be? Will you be around this weekend or something? Or
I'll be. Actually, I'm saying we can talk offline about it.
Okay, yeah,
we'll figure it out. If we don't have a show tomorrow, people, show up anyway.
We'll be checking. I'll find someone. It won't be that bad. It won't be that. But yeah, fantastic. Sorry, TJ, I have a wedding. Man, it's a wedding and anniversary season. Well, what is it? Your wedding, Mark? If so, congratulations. But he would have said it was my wedding, not a wedding. So but enjoy it. Weddings are great because the food is always good. I that's all I care about the wedding. The food is good. I'm cool. Like all the other bells and whistles, I don't really give a fuck about.
I just care about the open bar. As long as it has an open bar, it's a good time.
Fair point. Fair enough. All right. Cool.
All right. See you guys.